Hey, thanks for joining me to color. Today we are going to be working on my Color Wednesday blog post for June 8th, 2016. And we're going to be using this adorable image by Moe's Digital Pencil called Janny Texting. I will put a link down in the description box to the cute little image if you'd like to run over and pick it up and color along with me. So I've printed my image on Nina 80-pound solar white cardstock. So let's color. So let's start out by outlining our image. And I'm going to start over here with C0 on her little book she's got here. There's a little bit of background space in here. I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in because there's not too much there. And let's start down here on her shoe. I'm just going to do a quick line all the way around. And get her hair. And I like to do this first so that in case I get some on my person or my image, I can erase it if I feel like it. But it really is so light that if you do get some on there, you can't really see it after you color the entire thing. And we'll work our way down the side of these cute books and to the ground there. So next, let's do her skin and her cheeks. For that, we're going to use E21, E00, E000. And for her cheeks, I'm going to use R43, R21, and R30. I'm going to start with my E21. Let's go a little bit closer. So let's do her fingers here first. So I'm going to give E21 a little dab along the bottom of each finger. And her little thumb here. I'm going to color that in, this one too. And then along the bottom of these. And then I'm going to swipe her neck. Then I'm going to grab E00 and I'm going to fill in the rest of her fingers. And then I'm going to take E000 just to go over the entire finger and her fingernail. We'll go up here and we will do her face. So again, I'm going to start with E21. And I'm going to do a little line right next to her hair. And then I'm going to add some E00. I'm going to touch down on top of my E21 and I'm going to flick out here into her face. And I'm going to do her chin. And I'm not worried if it doesn't blend because I'm going to come back a second time after I do her cheek color. So now let's add E000. And I didn't worry about our lips either because I'm going to color those pink, so I just colored right over the top of those. And for our cheeks, let's do R43 first. And I'm going to do a little dab over here. And then we'll add R21. And then R30. Then we're going to come in with our E21. I'm going to go ahead and do another line right down the side here, across the top of her face. And then we'll add E00. Bring that around her lips. And then I'll fill it in all the way across with my E000. And then if you wanted her cheeks to be pinker, you could go back with a second coat. For her lips, I'm just going to give them a little dab of R21. So let's go ahead and do that. And they're really small on the image I printed out, so I'm just going to do just a little bit. Kind of dab it on there. And then we're going to do her hair. So for that, we're going to use E57, 43, and 53. So I'm going to start with my E57. Let's start up here at the top on this side here. And I'm just going to do some streaks here up at the top. Maybe bring some of these down a little bit in here. And then skip over to this side. And then we're going to get up here next to her face. And again, I'm going to bring some of the streaks down a little bit further. And then she's got a little dab of hair down here. Let's go ahead and do around like this. And then there's some, right here's hair, so I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. Alright, and then let's go do this side. So she's got a little curl right here. I'm going to go ahead and just color that. And then let's do some of this that's coming out from behind her jacket. And then let's do up here at the top. So let's do... And we're going to flick right along the edge of this hat again. And bring it down around this way. I'll go ahead and fill in that curl there. Then I want to bring some of these down a little bit further in here. And then there's a little section right here that's behind. So let's color that in. Then let's go with E43. And we're just going to add some more color. And then we're going to finish it off with our E53. And I'm going to brush that over her entire hair. You can also leave some white in there if you like that look and get that to work for you. I can never get that to work. And then I'm going to go back with my E57 and add just a little bit of shadow still back in. Let's work on her pants and her sweater next. For that, we're going to use T4, 3, 2, and 0. Let's start down here on her pants with T4. I'm just going to brush right along the edge of this back side of her leg. And then for this leg, let's do along the back of this leg. And then we're going to brush along the back here. And then I'm going to do T3. And I want to touch down on top of my previous color, so I soften that edge. And then T2. And then T0 to fill it in. And I'm going to go over it a second time, so I'm not worried that it's not blended perfectly. I want it to be a little bit darker, so let's go with T4. And then T3. And then T0. Oh, sorry, T2. and then our T0. And then we'll hop up here and we'll do her sweater. So again, let's start with T4. And let's go ahead and do this little section over here that's showing. So I'm going to fill in this side of her little sweater right there. And then I'm going to bring this down the inside of her arm, next to that hair. And we'll bring some up here from the bottom of her sweater sleeve. And then I want to do the back side. Then we're going to add T3. And again, I'm not worried about it blending because I'm going to come back and do a second coat. And I'll do a little dab up here on the sweater sleeve, or on the edge of her sweater. And then T2, I'm going to go ahead and fill this section in. And then let's add a little bit of this. And then T0. And then I'm going to go back again with T4. And then T3. And then a little bit of our T2. This. And then we'll fill it in the rest of the way with T0. I got a little bit of her sweater showing right here, so let's do T4 again. And then T3. I just completely missed that part. And then T2. For her socks, let's use W4 and our colorless blender. Let's go down here. And I'm going to take my W4 first. And I'm just going to do a little dab of shadow along the edge of her sock. And this one over here, let's go ahead and do some of these wrinkles. Maybe over here. And then I'm going to take my colorless blender and just rub the edges a little bit. Let's do the paper in the books next. For that, we're going to use W3 and W1. I'm going to take my W3 and I'm just going to brush it along the edge or the inside of the book. And then I'm going to add W1. And then I left the edges white. So for the book covers, we're going to use Y26, 23, E31, E30, R39, R37, and W3. I'm going to start with Y26 and Y23, and I'm going to do this middle book right here, the second one up. So I'm going to go ahead and cover or paint the bindings. Let's see, just got a little bit of showing over here, And then the bottom down here's got a cover. And then over here, I'm just going to go right next to her sock, and then this end. And then I'm going to fill in these ends with Y23. Like that. And then let's do E31 and E30. So for that, let's do the bottom book with E31 first. And then come around on the binding there. And then there's a little bit of showing up here, and then we'll do this end section. And then this top one up here, and then we're going to fill those in, the rest of that in with E30. Brush right on the edge there. And this one. Okay, for this middle, the last book, we're going to use R39 and R37. So let's start with R39. I'm going to do this right along in here. And let's see, we're going to make this the book here too. And then we'll fill in the rest of that space with R37. Okay, and for the stripes, I used W3, so let's go ahead and do that. And then for the middle section, these little writing parts, I did E30. Let's do her phone next. For that, we're going to use Y26 and 23. So let's do Y26 right over here, and then maybe a little bit along the edge there. And then let's brush up from the bottom. And then we'll add Y23. And then let's do the alternate stripes on her shirt with C1 and C0. So I'm going to start with C1. I'm going to pick this top stripe right here. I'm going to skip one. And let's say I made that part red and this part. And then we'll do a little bit of our C00. And I'm just brushing right along the edge. I'm not filling it the rest of the way in. I just want to soften that edge of the C1. Let's do some red next. For that, we're going to use our 39, 37, 35, and 32. Now let's go ahead and start down here on her shoe with R39. And let's do a little dab of that right along the edge here. And then she's got some strings there, so I'm going to try to avoid those. Like this. And then I left the tip of the shoe white, so I'm going to go ahead and avoid that. And then I'll bring this around some of these laces. And then for this shoe, let's go down this side. Do some of these lines on the edge here. And then maybe a little bit on this tongue. And in between the laces on this side. And then we're going to add R37. Brush that right along the edge there. next is R35. Dab a little bit in between some of these laces. And then R32 to fill it in. Then let's hop up here and do the alternate stripes on our sweater. So again, I'm going to start with my R39. And let's start with this bottom one. And then a little bit of this one here. And then this. And then the top of her sweater. Then we'll add R37. I'm going to fill this one in. There's not too much space there. And then let's fill in this top section. And then R35. And then a little bit of our R32. Alright, that takes us up here to our hat. So again, let's start with R39. And let's do along the edge of this hat. So let me start over here. That way I can color close to her face or her hair here without coloring red everywhere. I'll draw me a line there first. And we're going to brush this up like this. Let's continue up here. And let's give it over here, let's give it a bump that comes right around like this. And then over here, let's go with another little bump right in here and bring that down like so. Okay, now I'm going to brush some of this up a little bit further onto our hat here. Then I want to add R37. And bring this all the way around. And then we'll add R35. And then R32. I want to use this all the way across. Kind of smush all these colors together. I think I'll go back again with my R35 and do the same thing. Let's kind of mush all these colors together a little bit more. And then a second time with our R32. And right here, I forgot a little section of hair, so let me grab E57 right here behind her face. Just completely left it out. Let's go down here and add a little bit of W3 to the white on her shoes. So this little part right here, I'm just going to flick a little bit of W3 right here, and a little bit on this side. Then I'm just going to leave it like that. And then we're going to do the ground. For the ground, we're going to use W3, 2, and 1. I'm going to start with W3. Let's go right here along the edge of this book. And I'm going to go right along the edge. Bring my line out this way. And then I want to go underneath of her shoe. And back along the edge of her book. And then we'll add W2. And then W1. And then I like to go back with my darkest shade, which was W3, and add a little of that back in. So there is our adorable Janny Texting all colored up. Didn't she turn out super cute? If you would like to see the finished card, head over to the store blog for blog post June 11th, 2016, and you can see what I did with this card. If you have a question, make sure to leave me a comment. Otherwise, I hope you had fun coloring with me today, and we will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.